Welcome to Beyond the To-Do List, a podcast about productivity. I'm your host, Eric Fisher, and this is a special Shortcast edition brought to you in partnership with Blinkist, the app that delivers key insights from top nonfiction books and podcasts in just 15 minutes. With Blinkist, you can explore more episodes like this one, covering topics like productivity, mindfulness, leadership, personal growth. And after listening to this episode, click the link in the show notes or go to Blinkist.com and start a free trial, and then search for Beyond the To-Do List to find the over 70 plus episodes of Beyond the To-Do List that are in there as shortcasts. You're gonna love them, just like this episode. Hello, I'm Eric Fisher, and welcome to the shortcast of Beyond the To-Do List. In each episode, you'll gain insights from real people on productivity strategies that will allow you to lead a more meaningful life. Sometimes we wonder where our life is going. There doesn't seem to be a clear direction. If we watch a film that is vague and muddled, we turn it off. So there are definitely lessons to be learned from the world of storytelling. With a compelling plot to our lives, plus characters that serve clear purposes, we can find direction and fulfillment. Today's shortcast is all about writing the story of your life how you want it, then concentrating on the two F's, focus and finish, to turn that clarity into progress. And just like in the movies, it could be that your life begins to change with the help of an inciting incident.
If you sign up for a marathon and you raise $10,000 for a charity, if you finish the marathon, that's an inciting incident. Now you are forced to take action. What is the inciting incident that's going to get you to move forward on this ambition that you've clarified?
Donald Miller is an author whose life changed when a film company wanted to make a movie about him. He got obsessed with narrative theory, what makes a good story. It led him to unlock new approaches to fulfillment and productivity and write a book about it called Building a Story Brand. In this shortcast, Donald explains how his appreciation of good story structure and pace led him to concentrate his productivity efforts around two words, focus and finish. We discuss writer's block and how a road trip spent listening to every productivity audiobook he could find led Donald to construct his own perfect workday. And as you'll hear, we reveal the classic narrative structure that makes a great story and how we can harness it to make big improvements to our own lives.
If you break down stories, and I'm talking about the movies that you see, the most common elements, and when I say the most common elements, I also mean the most powerful elements that captures audiences, is this structure. You have a character who has a problem. They meet a guide. The guide gives them a plan that breaks through their confusion. Then the guide calls them to take action against their problem or their enemy. And that action either results in a comedy, a happy ending, or a tragedy. And that's it. I mean, that's Star Wars, Hunger Games, Tommy Boy. They're the exact same narrative structure. It's just, you just lay different characters and different problems over the same structure. But that's the structure that the human mind responds to. And so when we're talking about our lives as real people, those elements need to be clarified. And the thing about a story, what makes a story great, one of the things that makes a story great is it's clear. It's not muddled. There's not a wasted word in the dialogue. There's not a wasted scene. And I think when I'm sitting down to help people figure out their life plans, they're very confused. They're very confused about what they want. They usually are playing too many roles. There are characters coming in and out of their story that are not serving the purpose of their lives, and so the relationships are a little bit out of whack. Those are the things that we attempt to work on as we're creating their life plan, so they come out the other side, make a few changes, and everything gets clear. And when you're living a very efficient story, it's the same as when you're sitting in a theater watching one. It just makes sense, and you're compelled, and you're interested. But when your story is not clear, and you don't know exactly what you want, you're unwilling to face the conflict, you don't have a plan, and there are too many characters in your life, the story can be very confusing and muddled and give the person experiencing that life a sense that life is meaningless. And when it's not actually that life is meaningless, it's just that what you've done with your life is giving it the feel of meaninglessness, and we can fix that.
It's natural to think of our lives as narrative arcs. People might even ask us what our life story is. So it makes logical sense to examine what makes a good story and borrow those techniques. Inciting incidents, trimming unhelpful characters, and clarity of purpose are all helpful starting points. Once you have a better idea of where you want your life to go, it's time to take action. But that's where problems can start. For Donald, he knew he wanted to continue being an author, but he suddenly hit writer's block. Just like a hero in a movie, he came up with an inventive way to meet his challenge head on.
It had been 3 years since I'd been able to get a book written, and essentially my day kind of looked like this. I'd wake up, I knew that I needed to write, but there was that resistance that you face. I didn't want to do it, so I'd do some other things. And of course, I was running a company at the time, so there were plenty of ways that I could distract myself. So I wouldn't get the work done. I'd say, I'll do it after lunch. Then I wouldn't get it done after lunch. Then in the evening, some friends would want to go out. So I'd end up going out with my friends, the whole time feeling guilty and miserable because I didn't get my writing done. And when I sat down to write, it wasn't always the best experience. It was always very difficult. The words didn't seem to come. And I thought, well, I've either got writer's block or I'm just no longer inspired to do this kind of work. So I took a cross-country road trip, and I ended up ordering every audiobook I could find on writer's block, the creative process, willpower, organizing your time, all sorts of kind of psychology/business books. And by the time I got to where I was going, which was Washington, D.C., where I was going to spend a season working, I had learned some really valuable tools to help me restructure my day. For instance, the brain has much more energy in the morning than it does in the late afternoon or the evening. So you should really focus on your most important projects right out of bed. Another one was Dr. Viktor Frankl's understanding that if you pretend that you're living this day over again for the second time, and you ask yourself, what mistakes should I not make today that I made the first time I lived this day? It's a bit of a mental trick. He found that his clients had a much greater reverence for life. They were more intentional about relationships. They worried less about things that were trivial. And so these were some of the little tips that I actually took into my workday. And so what I did is I just took a piece of notebook paper and I created my own day planner day, in which I only would focus on 3 projects per day. I would make sure that I focused on the most important one in the morning. I would write down, if I could live today over again, what would I do differently? I wrote down things that I get to enjoy today, and I wrote down my appointments along with the theme, my life theme at the bottom of the page. And I used this and ended up writing a book in only 4 months. Now, that's an incredible pace.
Wow.
I would get to the end of my day and just really enjoy my day. So it was actually really great for my mental health. An unbelievable night and day shift.
I guess for all of us, there is a tipping point of frustration where we need to take action. What I love about Donald's audiobook binge was that he kept searching until he found answers, then took what worked for him and made his own bespoke plan. Your solution might not be exactly the same, but the principle still holds. Donald decided to do less better. Then he restructured his day to get the best out of himself and got his writing mojo back. He gradually became aware that he could boil down his approach to productivity to just 2 words: focus and finish.
I think a lot of us get into trouble because we're doing too many things. We're playing too many roles. We've got too many projects going on. We're not focused on one of them. And then the other thing that probably a lot of us have the bad habit of doing is not finishing well. I am a really great starter. I love starting projects. In the middle of them, it's like, we're still doing this and still having to think about this. But nothing changes the world if we don't finish it. And we have to actually finish this book and get it out there. We have to finish this webpage and put it out there for people to see. We have to finish things. That's what changes the world, or just the things that we finish. And so those are 2 things that I'm trying to cultivate this year: the power of focus and the power of finishing.
There's so much to learn from Donald's experiences, and it all starts with the story of your life. What does the story currently look like? What would you like it to become? If you can see yourself as the hero in your own life story and borrow some tricks from the movies, you'll be surprised at what can change. A deliberate, inciting incident can send you on a positive path with a clear purpose, and you can cut unnecessary scenes and characters along the way. Once you know where you want to go, find the productivity techniques that work best for you, and remember to concentrate on focus and finishing. If you want to hear more shortcasts from beyond the to-do list, make sure to hit follow on the show page. That way you'll be notified when new episodes come out. I'm Eric Fisher. Thanks for listening to this shortcast of beyond the to-do list.